welcome you all to the 2017 Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce annual meeting. We have a number of sponsors in the house that I'd like to thank, first of all. As soon as I get my sheet, there we go. Brookline Bank, please raise your hands as we see you. Brookline Bank, the District Burlington National Development, Leahy Hospital and Medical Center, Oracle, and Reamer and Bronstein. Thank you very much. The description on tonight's event said that we would tell you about the past year and what we're planning in the upcoming year, so I guess I'll try that. And by the way, as you look at the agenda, you'll notice that we may not start on time, but we always finish on time, so we'll get you out of here at 8 o'clock. That was a little hint. So the past year, we've exceeded our membership growth initiative. We're up about 25% with representing about 350 organizations, more than 15,000 employees. I think you know that the greater Burlington area is rich with companies and organizations of all types, and we represent a cross-section of all those types. And we offer benefits for each one of those organizations, regardless of what business type they are. The programming, the Chamber currently offers an assortment of networking opportunities, business building and educational workshops, community partnership programs. In the last year, we had over 200 events with, that's those that don't do the math, that's more than 3.5 a week. We don't stretch the week in this town, although we do stretch the hours sometimes. This is a very active chamber. Most of you see us on a regular basis, so you know that. We attracted about 4,000 registered guests for our events. And that doesn't include any of the events that we do that we don't take attendance or people walk in. We've strengthened our relationship with local and state government, the educational institutions, workforce development and trading agencies, other local chambers and business organizations, community and nonprofit organizations, and more. I want to remind you, it's very important that you know the Chamber is a nonprofit organization. Other than myself, Janet Bucheri. Janet, are you in the room? Janet, we're going to applaud for you right now. Janet Bucheri. And Katie O'Connor, who's at the back of the room as well. Now, with all due respect to the dignitaries in the room, I had to announce those ladies first, or else I'm in some big trouble. These are the people I deal with on a daily basis, and I couldn't be prouder of the staff that we have. Some of the folks in the room tonight, we'll start with Mass Speaker of the House, Bob DeLeo. State Representative Ken Gordon. Burlington Selectman Mike Runyon. Town Administrator John Petrin. Burlington Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Eric Conti. And the Burlington COA Director, Marge McDonald, was here. She had to leave. She's filming over at BCAT, and we can't keep them awaiting. But Marge does a great job for us with the seniors here in town. We also have Shawsheen Tech Superintendent Tim Broderick. And Shawsheen School Committee, Bob Gallagher. I think when I get done, you'll see there's fewer people that I can't mention than I do. From Middlesex Community College, Judy Burke, Executive Director of Institutional Advancement. Patrick Cook, Executive Director of Government Affairs and Community Relations. And we've got the CEO of the Costas Research Institute for Homeland Security at Northeastern, Peter Boynton. We also have the Director of Metro North Regional Employment Board, Sonny Schwartz. And last but not least, we have the Director of the Middlesex 3 Coalition, Stephanie Cronin. So, as I said, the Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization. Other than the 3 staff members, the power of the chamber is through our members and the time that they give. Other than us, these are volunteers. A lot of the people you're going to hear from tonight are volunteers for the chamber that give their passion, their energy, and actually their inspiration that keeps this chamber going. And I can't thank them enough. Please. And speaking of inspiration, I meet with members of all shapes and sizes. I meet with organizations that are looking to connect to the Burlington business base, the Burlington area businesses. I've got to tell you about a special inspirational meeting that I had just a couple of weeks ago. It's with a gentleman who's in the room, and following 15 years of active duty with the U.S. Army and U.S. Air Force, and after losing 3 friends and fellow soldiers to suicide, Robert Bobby Colleton reintegrated back into civilian life with the all too common emotions of frustration, heartbreak, and a need for change. Bobby was able to find sanctuary in the ice hockey rink. It was in the locker rooms, on the ice, and in the parking lot where nothing else mattered. And he was able to forget about all the other burdens he was facing. However, there was something missing. Bobby's vision was for a hockey team consisting of U.S. Armed Forces veterans skating at no cost to them, and here veterans would find the support and camaraderie that Bobby found when returning from active duty. Excuse me. Bobby, with the help of other veterans, started the New England Veterans Hockey Club. Following the success of the New England Eagles, the mission was expanded to create a foundation to help raise public awareness of the 22 veteran suicides that occur in this country each day. To raise funds and provide financial and social support for the afflicted families and to support the New England Eagles' continued growth, it was within this context that Bobby created the Skate for the 22 Foundation. He uses hockey to reduce the number of veteran suicides, and through their partnership with the New England Eagles Veterans Hockey Club, the foundation sponsors charity games, tournaments, and local events to help raise funds and awareness and to provide suicide prevention assistance. I am personally extremely proud, and the Chamber is extremely proud to have the Skate for the 22 Foundation as a BACC member, and we will be inviting them to join the Chamber's Charitable Partner Program. Please join me now in a round of applause to honor and thank a true American and Burlington inspiration, Bobby Colleton. We see the same type of inspiration repeated day after day in a lot of the businesses that are located in this area. There are a number of charitable organizations that we partner with for our black tie event, which we'll be speaking about a little bit later. These are the people that drive the engine that drives us all to keep our heads up and understand how good we have it in this area right now. And it doesn't happen by itself. It happens with a lot of the people that are in this room. It happens with an effort, and it happens with a partnership with the local and state governments. It's a team effort, and this chamber is very proud about being a teammate with all the organizations in this room, and I thank you for coming. Without any further ado, I would like to turn this over to our co-chair of the board, Ms. Sonia Rollins.
Thank you, Rick. Good evening, everybody. Before I say anything else, I think Rick is really great at announcing and acknowledging everybody else in the room. I can tell you that in the past 3 years, the Chamber has made great strides, and while the volunteers are a big part of that, and while Katie and Janet are a big part of that, a round of applause for our president, who's done a phenomenal job, Rick Parker. Okay, but he sucked up most of the time, and he wants to get us out of here by 8, so I am going to do my best to do that. I have the pleasure of doing the portion of the actual annual meeting, which is what you are all at. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This year, the board does not have any new appointees, but it is my pleasure to introduce you to the board that is in the room with us. And because I'm older than I used to be, I'm going to put my glasses on to read my list. Okay, when I call your name, please stand up and remain standing so that our members can meet you. Dave Adams, AFC Urgent Healthcare, Burlington. Jorge Andrade, Citizens Bank. Armin Bassi of Merrill Lynch Private Banking and Investment Group. Carl Blanchard, Alder Blanchard and Associates. Carl also serves on our executive committee as treasurer. Thank you for that, Carl. Robert Buckley, senior partner, Reamer and Bronstein. Bob is also the co-chair of the executive committee. Thank you for that, sir. Dr. Eric Conti, superintendent of schools, Burlington Public Schools. Stephanie Cronin, Middlesex 3 Coalition. Sean Curtin of Commodore Builders. Sean, you're here. I know you are. Okay, great. Andrew Gallinaro, National Development. Melissa O'Dowd of Health Edge. Kelly Pappas, Foster Sullivan Insurance Group. Rihanna Sherwood. Where are you, Rihanna? There she is. Michelle Snyder, Leahy Hospital and Medical Center. Scott Weiss of the Gutierrez Corporation. And Mark Young of the Boston Burlington Marriott. And folks, my name is Sonia Rollins. I'm with Exit Premier Real Estate. I serve as co-chair with Bob Buckley. I'd like to introduce you to your board of directors. Thank you, everybody. In addition to the board of directors, as Rick said, this is not an easy challenge to put out 200 events, to do the government affairs we do, to do everything that the chamber does. We are very fortunate to also have ambassadors of the group. Ambassadors are those who, when the board doesn't want to do something, we send it their way. No, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. When the board doesn't, the ambassadors are really our people on the ground. They're talking about the chamber. You know, I know you all see the good work that the chamber does. I hope you saw in the diversity of that board what Burlington and the surrounding communities is made up of, which is different sized businesses, different types of businesses, things that have made Burlington and the communities around us actually prosper. We are a fortunate group. We're fortunate in what we have as a chamber, but we're fortunate in what we have as a district. We do not take that for granted. We don't take for granted what the residential base gets from here. We don't take for granted what the commercial base gives to the residential base. I know Mel's going to talk about our charitable foundation and the gala that comes up, but we really find ourselves blessed, and the board does that with us, but our ambassadors do as well. So it is my pleasure to introduce, here come the glasses again, the ambassadors that are in the room with us. Brenda Cahoon of Exit Premier Real Estate. Brenda, please stand. Joe Girolamo of Residential Mortgage Services. Joe, where are you? Tad Mayer of Career Negotiations. Tad? He was here. There he is. Rena Scott of North Shore Bank. Steve Shaw of Foresters Financial. Steve. And Robin Terry of Reese Marketing Resources. Thank you very much for your work. We appreciate it. We know that we ask a lot of you, so we appreciate your work. And anybody in this room, if you have questions, of course, please come to the board, but also the ambassadors do some great work. So on behalf of the board, we thank you for that. Okay, that's my quick spiel of the annual meeting. We thank you again for being here. We appreciate that. I know you have better speakers to hear from me, but again, on behalf of the board of directors, on behalf of my co-chair, Bob Buckley, and I, we thank you for being here. We hope you will join us on a lot of different events. 2018 promises to be as phenomenal as 2017 was, and then some. So with that, I will introduce to you Mel O'Dowd, who is on our board of directors, but also the chairman of the events committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sonia. I am Melissa O'Dowd. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Director of Marketing at Health Edge. I chair the events committee. Health Edge is in Burlington. I also am a Burlington resident, so I particularly take immense pride in not only being a part of the chamber, but living and working in this town. So I just wanted to start with that. As Rick mentioned, 200 events a year, that's what the chamber has been involved in, and I can assure you that not only has Rick probably been at every single one of them, that number doesn't include the number of events that he attends on behalf of the town, on behalf of other chambers, and just the other meetings that come up, meeting with you all, for example, when you need him. So this man is busy. I don't know how he sleeps, but this is definitely one, if not the active chamber in the region that you're all a part of. So take stock in that, and this man works for you all the time. So again, take some rest once in a while, will you? So on your tables is a trifold that has a listing of all of our upcoming events. So the events committee is responsible for major events for the chamber. That includes our Black Tie Gala, which coming up in January is our second annual. This year we are blessed to have Herb Chambers as our presenting sponsor again, which is wonderful. We also have tickets going on sale tomorrow, so please don't delay and get your tickets. This event is 100% of the proceeds go right into the charitable foundation. They benefit the charities that are actually on that trifold. And you know, the chamber operates pretty lean. We don't go extravagant. We try to funnel as much of our funds into the charitable foundation as we can. So, you know, please come. Please take a look at who from your company can join. Consider a sponsorship. Consider a raffle item. Those are the big needs that we have for this event. Also coming up, our spring soiree in March. This is our holiday party that's not in the crazy time of the holidays, so we'll have more information on that soon. Our scholarship luncheon at Londana is going to be April 26th of next year. Always a good time. And then the golf tournament. This will be our 9th annual golf tournament in May. This year, after doing a few years at Thompson Country Club, we're actually going to be shifting over to Andover. So some new things. We'll be shaking things up a little bit, as we always do, but something to look out for if you've got any golfers on your teams. And then again, the Taste of Burlington. This year, we're targeting September 17th, a couple weeks after Labor Day, so everybody's back from the summer craziness and can focus on eating in the fall. And then finally, our annual meeting again what you're here for tonight. So these are the major events that the events committee is responsible for. For the past 3 years, we've been taking a good hard look at our major events, trying to revamp them, grow them, take them to the next level, much like the chamber itself has been doing for the past 3 years since Rick has come on board. We've been taking a look at events as a whole, trying to make sure that we are touching a lot of the member population, to make sure that the events are meeting their needs, that there are sponsorship levels that can accommodate businesses of any size and types, and that we're making sure that the events that we're putting on are actually relevant to not only the business community, but also the community at large, the residents and the folks that live in the area. And so, you know, part of our charter as we go into 2018 is looking at what other events can we put on, what segments of our membership are we missing, and how can we really make sure that everyone who's a member has an opportunity to take part in something and can get something out of participating in one of our major events. So we are definitely looking for new folks to join our committee. As these events grow, the amount of work that goes into them grows as well, and so we look to definitely add folks to the committee so that we can kind of share the tasks and make sure that you know, we can we can continue to service the membership with the types of events that you guys have been accustomed to participating in. We don't want to fall down. We want to make sure that these continue to grow and these continue to accommodate your needs and what the community needs. In addition to our major events, I want to make sure that we draw attention to the regular ongoing events that happen every month. So these include Network AM, which is the first Tuesday of every month, our Women in Business luncheons, which tend to sell out, so watch your newsletters, your weekly newsletters. Those are great opportunities for female professionals in the chamber to get involved. Sonia does an amazing job chairing that committee, making sure that the mix of events focuses on education, fun, philanthropy, and topics that are important to women in the business community. Network PM is the third Thursday of every month. And then the first Wednesday of every month is always maximizing your BACC membership. This is an amazing monthly seminar put on by Rick. If you have not been to one, you should. Your membership only goes so far as your utilization of it. It's great to show up at a couple of events every time, or every month, or every few months, but this seminar is critical to understanding how you can leverage the Chamber's website, what opportunities are afforded to you there, and what goes beyond just showing up at a networking session. So if you haven't checked that out yet, you should. It could, if it's not something that you yourself could go to, send a marketing person, send a communications person, because that's something that can extend your regular membership to the Chamber. I also wanted to call attention to, I know I mentioned the black tie earlier, on everyone's chairs there is the flyer about the black tie. It's going to be here. Again, Herb Chambers is our presenting sponsor, and on the back of the sheet is our menu of sponsorship opportunities. If you have any interest in participating in any way, you can come see me, you can see Sonia, anyone from Janet to Katie. We're all involved in the events committee and can definitely figure out how you can participate. The last thing I'm going to mention is a thank you to the committee. We can't put on these events without volunteers. We are all volunteers and go above and beyond our daily full-time jobs. So in addition to myself, I'd like to thank Sonia, who chairs all of our sponsorships. She's the one that secures all of those and really hits the phones. Janet in the office is amazing at taking care of all of the invoicing and all of the logistics. Katie does all of our marketing. Brenda handles all of our volunteers. Lisa Healy knocks on so many doors to drive attendance. She couldn't be here tonight, but she's a huge part of this committee. And Brendan Stapleton, who handles our golf tournament, is also an integral part of this. So all of these folks deserve an immense round of applause for getting us to where we are. And I hope to see some of you soon at an events committee meeting. So round of applause for my fellow committee members. And again, as we look to grow the committee, if you've never planned an event but you want to get involved, we take folks with any and all levels of skills. We can teach. If you have interest, we can teach. So don't feel like you're not a candidate if you've never planned an event. All of us who are on the committee today have all done some pieces. We've all had to start somewhere. So please don't let that deter you from participating. So that is my update. And with that, I'm going to introduce Kelly Pappas from Foster Sullivan, and Bob Buckley from Reamer Bronstein, who are going to give the government affairs update.
Good evening. Good evening. Am I too close? Can you hear me now? A small person with that. Can you hear me now? Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to miss this opportunity. I'm
just going to stand over here.
No, come up here, Kelly. I feel like I'm being shadowed because I have to be protected because I'm going to say or do something that people are going to say, we got to make sure that Buckley stays on the rails. Well, I'm going off the rails. For about 20 some odd years, I've chaired the Government Affairs Committee in this town as part of the chamber. And when you leave town tonight, Mr. Speaker, I want you to look around. I want you to see what we've done here. And it's because people, major corporations here, when we have a government affairs, we focus on major issues that are affecting not only this region, but the overall economy throughout the Commonwealth. And we try to leave our personal agendas at the door and focus on these issues. And I think we have a fundamental baseline philosophy, which is if the public policy isn't working, let's change it. And the results, as you leave town, you can see them. We have major corporations here. We have a major medical center here. We have economic activity. We've developed Middlesex 3, which the town of Burlington, Stephanie Cronin, and the town administrator have been very active in developing economic activity throughout the corridor. And that's only a result of people having discussions and input on a wide variety of issues. We're utilizing the talent we have here. We're trying to come up with ideas. We're trying to make this a vibrant, responsive, and exciting economy. And I think we've been very successful. And we ask why or why not. And then we have very informed discussions and very lively discussions. And in the last 6 years or 5 years, however, we've been lucky. We've had a great state representative in Ken Gordon, who I don't know how you let him do what he does for us in terms of commitment of time and effort, but he's done a phenomenal job in this area. We miss Ken Donnelly, who was also very active. But I think that we are an example for other regions of the Commonwealth where people pull together, and if they leave their personal agendas at the door, we can address issues of transportation. We can address issues of where's the economy going? How do we deal with employment issues, workforce training, all the things that we should focus on as a society, we do here. And we're very lucky. We're very lucky because we have very talented people that are members of this chamber. And as someone said, maybe I talk too much, but I'm passionate about it because I do believe that, you know, I've done a lot of projects, and my law partner over here, Mark Vaughn, has been active in it also. When I drive by a building, I don't look at the building and say, wow, look at that building coming out of the ground. I look at the windows. And I look at the windows because on the other side of that window is someone who's planning their child's education, planning their vacation, planning their future, adding to the economic vitality of this region. And we're very, very lucky because we've had good people. And with that, I introduce someone who's going to carry it on, Kelly Pappas.
Thank you, Bob. Big shoes to fill. I will be very brief.
Thank you.
He was good, although, I mean, he did well, for those of us who know Bob. So the purpose of the Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce is to promote and advocate on behalf of organizations doing business in the greater Burlington area. We strive to ensure a representative cross-section of Burlington. So the Government Affairs Committee is made up of Burlington residents, town meeting members, small business owners, developers, and Fortune 500 company representation. The purpose of the Government Affairs Committee is to address government-related local and regional issues that affect businesses and the community. This year, the committee has focused on several issues critical to businesses within the greater Burlington area, to include updates on the master plan, restrictions on water usage for well owners. We held candidate forums for the selectman and the moderator races this year. We had outside speakers to discuss the impact of changing immigration laws and executive orders on H-1B visas. We've had multiple meetings to review the FMLA bills filed by the State Representative Ken Gordon. And we recently had the trustees of reservations come to speak to us about the Mary Cummins Park. So throughout 2018, we also talk about taxes a lot, just so you know. Throughout 2018, the Government Affairs Committee will continue to monitor local, state, and federal laws, decisions, and policy changes that will impact the greater Burlington area. As members of the Chamber, we are working on your behalf. Please feel free to reach out to me or Bob if there are issues, or me, if there are issues that you think we need to be addressing. Thank you.
And yeah, you have to introduce, okay. But finally, thank you for coming, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
And on that note, I would like to introduce our next guest speaker, Paul Asmar from Millipore Sigma, Head of Real Estate and Property Services. Welcome.
Thanks very much. I appreciate that. Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us here tonight. I am the person who had the honor to help Millipore Sigma bring our new building at the top of the hill here and make it a reality, along with my friend Scott here and the Gutierrez Company. But, just before I get into that, I just want to thank Rick for the invite tonight and the ability to say a couple of words before Speaker DeLeo and Representative Gordon. Thank you very much for that. Rick also reminded me when I came in that we were the only people in the room who are not part of the chamber yet. So, Rick, thank you for the very, very gentle nudge there. And we'll make sure we put it in our budget for next year. So thank you very much. Yeah. We were wondering why we got at the front table here, so thank you. So Rick just asked me to say a couple of words just about us coming to Burlington. And, we're the new kids on the block, so we're very excited to be here. Myself, Jackie Lake, who is my property manager here in Burlington, and the many people that we brought here to be part of what we call the summit. And we want to I really want to spend this minute just saying thank you to all the people that made this happen, starting with Scott and the Gutierrez companies for being a great partner with us. John Petrin, the Board of Selectmen. I'll probably forget a lot of people, so I'll just say everybody that was involved. It was a great effort over the last 3 years, and so it was a big journey for us. It started 5 years ago, even before I was part of the Millipore group, looking at a lot of communities, where we would fit, where would be a good fit for us. And we knew what we wanted to do. We wanted to build a center of biotech and technology, and we wanted to have a flag in the ground for North America. So we really looked around, and we're really honored to have been able to work with the town and Gutierrez, and we are able to put together some really great packages for all of us. We've been very involved, and we look forward to being involved in the future with everybody. We had our grand opening last month. I think it was last month. That time goes quick. The governor came, and it was great to have him there. And somebody asked me what my favorite part of the day was, and I told Superintendent, so he knows. My favorite part of the day, well, was just having it over, really, was my favorite part because it was crazy. But I got to go out and in one of our, we call it a Curiosity Cube, which is a mobile laboratory. We had two buses of grammar school. I think it was a grammar school group and a middle school group. And it was just great to see them with their white coats on and their safety glasses on, doing experiments with our researchers, and it really made me feel like we are part of the fabric of the community already within the month that we got there. So we're really excited to continue to do that. We've got some great ideas how to be part of the community. We look forward to doing that. We look forward to being part of the chamber, Rick, and I appreciate you letting me say a couple of words. Thank you, everybody. And Rick, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul, on behalf of the Chamber and the Burlington community. We welcome Millipore Sigma to our group, and I do believe that Janet has the credit card machine out there in case you want to get it on the way out. Our next speaker I'd like to introduce, somebody who really cares about what he does. I see a lot of people in this room at 7:30 in the morning. I see some of the same people at 10 o'clock at night finishing up at meetings. Ken is one of those tireless workers. It fits in well with this organization. We couldn't be luckier to have someone of Ken's stature that really gets involved and helps us move issues along and is a voice for us at the State House. State Representative Ken Gordon.
Thank you, Rick. Let's see. So I can see here. All right, thank you. To the members of the Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce, it's my pleasure to be with you tonight. Mr. Speaker, thank you for coming. In a moment, I'll be introducing you to our keynote speaker, the Speaker of the Massachusetts House of Representatives, Bob DeLeo. When I asked Speaker DeLeo to come tonight, he asked me to tell him a little bit about the work of the Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce. So I asked him how much time he had. I told him how 5 years ago, when I was first elected as your state representative, your board members reached out to me and they told me they had a vision. Really, you just heard about it. They wanted the chamber to be much more than an opportunity to network, although the networking Thursdays are important and well attended. They told me that what they envisioned was a place where progress could occur, a place where egos were left in check, where ideas were given respect, and you'll recognize this phrase, we can all turn down the volume and talk to each other, to residents, to municipal leaders, to state and federal government representatives. Board members Bob Buckley, Sonia Rollins, Melissa O'Dowd, and others wanted to create associations and partnerships that would benefit all their members. One of those partnerships involved government affairs, and Kelly Pappas, who you just heard from, stood up to take leadership reins. If members have questions of local regulations, of state programs, or pending legislation, the Chamber knows how to arrange meetings or forums, and we've done that for the past few years. In the past few years, we've welcomed governors, a U.S. Senator, a congressman, quite a few other government leaders. Economic Development Secretary Jay Ash has been here so often that when I asked to meet with him in the State House, he says, never mind, let's go to Burlington so he can have an opportunity to go to one of his favorite restaurants. Today, Speaker DeLeo joins that growing list of government leaders who have spent time with us, will speak with us. Mr. Speaker, I know there are great restaurants in Winthrop, but right here you're going to find the best. I got to laugh on the second time I used that line. There's a good reason we're joined here tonight, not just by leaders of the most important high-tech, healthcare, financial, real estate, and other businesses in the area, but by selectmen like Mike Runyon, Town Administrator John Petrin, Burlington School Superintendent Eric Conti, Shawsheen Superintendent Tim Broderick, and his Burlington School Committee member Bob Gallagher. It's because we've created a bond and a team between our businesses and government leaders, and you see that here tonight. It goes beyond government. As you heard Rick say, the Chamber has assembled a group of local charities and civic groups and has encouraged its members to find a cause with which it can identify, and then made it easy to get involved. You heard about the Skate for 22. This group, looking out for veterans, started by Bobby Colleton, veterans who are challenged or who may be challenged with issues involving anxiety, depression, and PTSD. Because when they're together, they're battling isolation, and when they do that, then everyone benefits. But what you didn't hear is that they came to me as they were planning a charity hockey game that they were going to do on December 17th. And they said, you know what, we're looking for a place to have a dinner the night after the game. Do we know anybody? Can you help? Well, I reached out to Joe Farrell from Tuscan Kitchen, a member of the Chamber, and I said, what do you think? And he cut his price down so low it is offered at cost. As to the remaining cost, Bob Buckley stepped up, Dave Adams from Doctors Express, AFC Urgent Care, and a new member, Ipswich, stepped up, and they provided the entire remaining cost, including the tip, so that all the veterans can skate and then have dinner for free. So I applaud all of you for doing that. Mr. Speaker, you may remember that last session we named May the official month of kindness. The advocates for that bill were a Burlington civic group called Help Us. Joyce DeLeonis is here with us today. They took a group of young children who lost their homes to a fire. They took them to the State House, and they told us of their collective idea to set aside 1 month as a reminder to be kind. And boy, can the people in Washington use a dose of that these days. What the Speaker did is have his chairman of the Committee on State Administration come to Burlington so we could hold that hearing at the children's school, and so that 31 of them could come and tell us what they would do if they could have a month set aside to show kindness. We passed that night in the committee, and of course we passed it unanimously through the House, because who wouldn't? It got through the Senate, it got to the governor's desk, and the governor invited all the children to his office where we were present for the signing. That's teamwork. And that teamwork extends far beyond this bill. It extends to important economic issues as well. When I meet with the Speaker, the most common question he asks me is, how can I help your district? And when I ask him for support, his common refrain is, well, how will that help your residents, and how will it affect business and the economy? The House of Representatives knows the value of Burlington's economy to the rest of the Commonwealth. Our commercial space is being upgraded, and each year, vibrant new businesses are coming to town. Our unemployment is at an all-time low, and we are open for business. We employ people from across our region, and we raise revenue that supports our Commonwealth. Of course, with this growth comes traffic. They do come hand in hand, but we're not sitting still. The Chamber has been working with the Middlesex 3 Coalition and our offices to organize a series of shuttles to bring workers from other towns, and also looking into other options to reduce the amount of traffic while at the same time bringing our workers in. Speaker DeLeo accepted my amendment to the Economic Development Bill last session to appropriate money to start this shuttle project. It was supported in the Senate and was sent to the governor. So he now has the legislative authority to write the check. Secretary Ash understands the importance, as does Transportation Secretary Stephanie Pollack, and we're continuing to work on this project. Let me tell you a little something about the speaker. Every so often, somebody asks me why I vote so often with this speaker. And it's true that a good portion of the time I do just that. That's because under this speaker's leadership, the goal is to find consensus and identify the best ideas, no matter seniority, no matter geography. From the beginning, he said, I want your ideas. Well, 2 weeks ago, we passed a major criminal justice reform bill. Before we did that, the speaker asked his chair, Claire Cronin, to hold meetings with all of the members and find out what were our priorities. So during our meeting, I told her my top 3 priorities. And when that bill came out of committee and was ready to be voted on, I got an excited call from my former legislative aide, Mary Guay, who saw the bill before I did. She said, all of your priorities are right there in the bill. One of them was important to Burlington, and it was advocated by our law enforcement people as well as Bedford's law enforcement people. It's called restorative justice. And what it will do is, on certain crimes, especially petty crimes, it will keep those matters out of the criminal justice system, relieving the burden on the trial court, but also giving largely kids a second chance. So when the bill came out, it was open for amendments. I didn't file any because this speaker listened through the chair. I didn't have to. It was a bill I could vote on, and I did. So when I'm asked by folks, why is it I vote so often with the speaker, I tell them the question is somewhat backward. The speaker votes with us because he listens. Speaker DeLeo is a friend to our communities, recognizing the importance of our high-tech economy and geographic alternative to the hubs in Cambridge and Boston. He realizes how much we rely on our public schools, our tech schools, our public colleges, and community colleges, and has been a strong advocate for workforce training and education as budget priorities. Tonight, I'll be able to sit back and listen to him talk. Most days, I get to watch him as he listens and then he leads. Fellow chamber members, I present to you my friend, Speaker Bob DeLeo.
Thank you very much, Ken, for that extremely warm introduction. Let me just get started with some of the bad news, first of all. We're not going to be out of here by 8 o'clock. Sorry, I had to throw that in there. And secondly, for those of you who thought you were going to have Kevin Millar tonight, you don't have Kevin Millar. Now, I played a lot of baseball, and I love baseball, as people know, but I have no idea how I came as replacement to Kevin Millar. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. And it was so great to hear about the New England Eagles, the veterans hockey team. I had the opportunity at the Warrior Ice Arena just last year to drop the puck at one of their games that they played with the legislators. And I think the legislators won. That's not to say all the players were legislators, but we won. So I want to, first of all, congratulate the chamber here for your working with them, and most importantly, thank all the veterans, for the service to the state and most importantly to the country. Thank you very much. And I also have to join the chorus of folks here who talked about the incredible job that you have with Representative Gordon, both through his committee work and also his unyielding advocacy on behalf of his district. First of all, I'm not sure how many folks know this, but in a relatively short period of time, I made Representative Gordon a part of my leadership team as the vice chair of election laws. And I think that shows you the high regard, not only that I have for him, but of all the members, because they have to confirm that nomination. So I have to thank him for that. And then when you also look at the committees he's on in terms of the Transportation Committee, and the Committee on Development and Small Business, I think that gives you an idea in terms of the high esteem that I have for this gentleman. And I think that his focus on transportation has been bearing results. I know that the Route 128, Route 3 repaving project was just completed, if I'm correct, which I hope I am on that. And that, quite frankly, would not have been possible without Representative Ken Gordon. So congratulations and thank you to Representative Gordon. And I also want to thank Rick and all the members of the Chamber for having me here tonight. I have to tell you, of all the things that items and meetings that I attend to as Speaker of the House, I find meetings such as this probably the most valuable and probably the most meetings that I really feel that I really enjoy the most, quite frankly. Representative Gordon has told me that the Burlington Area Chamber is a unique group. When someone tells you something like that, you first of all get a little nervous when they talk about uniqueness. But then, especially due to the fact that you go above and beyond, in addition to your economic development focus, you are also champion philanthropic causes and support policy initiatives that will improve the lives of Massachusetts residents. And I can tell you how much I was looking forward to doing this. Today, I just happen to have the executive director of the Winthrop Chamber of Commerce in my office. And I was telling her how I was really looking forward to going to Burlington tonight. Right, going to Burlington, an hour drive from Boston, but that's all right. How I was really looking forward to coming here tonight because of the pitch, quite frankly, which Ken had given me in terms of everything that goes on tonight, and listening to all of the speakers, I can hear that was true. So I want to thank the Chamber for all the great work that they do. During my time as Speaker, I have to say that the House has put a premium on building strong working relationships with local and regional business groups. Your input informs the decisions we make and has been, I think, crucial to Massachusetts distinguishing itself as an economic powerhouse. I'm proud that our efforts are bearing fruit. Earlier this year, we learned that not only is Massachusetts the most educated state in the nation, but our workers are earning more and are more likely to obtain stable, fulfilling jobs. In 2017, the state's gross domestic product has grown by more than 4%, compared to the national average of 2.6. Last month, our unemployment rate dropped yet again. We are now at 3.7%, well under the national average, with almost 5,000 jobs added in October. And it goes beyond the economy. We have the strongest gun laws in the nation, which has resulted in the lowest rate of gun deaths per capita, and that we are now rated as #1 state in the entire country in terms of having the best gun laws in the entire country. The House's work, in conjunction with partners such as you here today, has helped us climb out of the recession to ignite an upward economic trajectory. I'm not only talking about job creation. Of course, that's a huge part, by the way, of the equation. But I'm also speaking about partnering with institutions of higher education, workforce training programs, and education nonprofits. With Burlington and Route 128 rich history as the hub of discovery, you understand the immense impact that our knowledge economy has on the overall economy of our Commonwealth. The Burlington economy is driven by the high-tech and life sciences sectors. While the focus is too often, I believe, on Kendall Square, we know that many Massachusetts cutting-edge companies are located right here in Burlington. And that's been the case for quite some time. The businesses in this room have cultivated an environment where research, development, and innovation thrive, while offering distinct benefits when compared to Boston or Cambridge. This region has set a statewide example for attracting business. And besides the restaurants, yes, I can see that, and I will look for that when I leave here this evening. And ensuring that suburban hubs remain vibrant through smart growth and development. A large part of that equation has focused on education, whether in our public schools to attract and support the families of local employees, or at our top-rate universities, from which growing companies can recruit the best and the brightest. I've spoken with a few of you about the prospect of Amazon locating its second headquarters right here in Massachusetts. And as Representative Gordon pointed out, 2 national publications named Massachusetts the second most likely place for Amazon to site. Regardless of their decision, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that the company has already added hundreds of jobs right here in Massachusetts. This recognition speaks volumes. I recently wrote an op-ed column where I talked about how Massachusetts has workers of diverse educational levels who would be an asset to Amazon, from our private university graduates to UMass students to those who attend our community colleges. A couple of bright ones I just met earlier here this evening, by the way, from Middlesex College as well. And obviously, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Northeastern University, where I am a proud graduate. And I think that they maybe have a presence here and are furthering their growth. Northeastern University, the school that people will go to because of the fact that those who go to Northeastern are the folks, I should say the people who wanted to go to Harvard or some of our other schools are those people who couldn't get into Northeastern, so they had to settle for Harvard or MIT. As you could tell, that took me a lot of ways to try to figure it out how I wouldn't get that in reverse, but you got it. But one of the things I also want to talk about is that I often say that what I consider to be important is weaving together the diverse sectors of our economy together and supporting workers of all skill sets. I think this is crucial to Massachusetts' continued success and national leadership. One of our biggest focuses has been on integrating education and business. The House has made meaningful investments to bolster this strategy. Take the STEM Starter Academy, an initiative that provides community college students with pathways to jobs, high-growth jobs. In its short tenure, STEM Starter has garnered the interest of Genzyme and Microsoft, which have formed a talent pipeline partnerships with our community colleges. Or we could take a look at our intern partnership, which matches stipends for the interns at innovation startups. In 3 short years, participating companies have hired more than 100 interns. Or MassCan, a program championed by the House to partner with businesses to establish widespread computer science education in our public schools. And here I'd like to recognize Dr. Conti, the Burlington superintendent, who has been a top leader in promoting this program and supporting educators. Thank you very much, Dr. Conti. In 2014, Massachusetts became the first state in the nation to offer a dollar-for-dollar match with private industry for the K through 12 computer science education. And in 2015, 2 MassCan teams placed second and third at Technovation, a global technology competition for female students. so that's something we should all be proud of. As the intern partnership, MassCan and the STEM Starter mature, I believe that we're going to see some more widespread positive results that will further fortify our economy in the long run. Understanding that Leahy is Burlington's largest employer and that Dave Adams is an important voice in this community, I'd like to briefly touch on health care. As many of you know, the Massachusetts Senate has recently passed a health care bill. Following the proposals by Governor Baker this summer and the more recent Senate bill, I have been in continued conversations with the Chair of Ways and Means, Jeffrey Sanchez, and the Chair of Health Care Policy, Peter Kokot. I believe that this year marks a critical juncture for the health care market. We here in Massachusetts have set the national example of what can be achieved through health care reform. While we are still experiencing uncertainty from Washington, we all must remain vigilant. Reports show that we've been successful in slowing the growth of spending, despite a challenging fiscal and political landscape. We have the best healthcare facilities in the world, and we continue to be the hub for medical innovation. At the same time, it is also clear to us that our current trajectory is unsustainable. The House is committed to finding meaningful solutions. We're focused on consumer information and engagement. The Center for Health Information and Analysis new website may be a key to getting people the information they need, but it's also about changing attitudes. We are going to have to work together and work within our communities to make this possible. We may also have the opportunity to reevaluate how our agencies are supporting the healthcare system and consumers. There's a space for a discussion about agency collaboration and finding ways for agencies to provide patients with more information. We're excited about the prospect of the potential for telemedicine, and we're thinking about how innovation can help us balance cost with quality. We're also taking a look at pharmaceutical spending and transparency. We need to strike the right balance between bringing down spending while maintaining our robust innovation ecosystem. Importantly, we will not let the work we've already done go to waste. We should be proud that here in our Commonwealth, more than 98% of our people are insured. Many organizations here tonight have been part of that solution, and for that I thank you. Representative Gordon has also, amongst many other things, by the way, told me about the rapid expansion in Burlington and the surrounding area. From the many new restaurants that are cropping up to the developments at 3rd Avenue and the district, you have much, I should say, to be proud of. I realize that your geography, being at the edge of the MBTA system and the Lowell RTA, poses specific challenges. While the legislature, I'd like to point out, because of the amendment filed by Representative Gordon, authorized funds for a shuttle service, we are still waiting for the governor to release that money. And again, I want to thank Representative Gordon, the local delegation, and the Middlesex 3 Coalition for your continued advocacy to make sure that we got that done. As I'm sure you also know, that the fair share ballot question passes, a portion of the revenue must go to transportation. I believe that voters should have the opportunity to weigh in, and I hope to hear from you about the next step, by the way, in relation to this region's transportation needs. The Burlington Chamber of Commerce has long been a champion of promoting business development that lifts up workers in this region, local businesses, and the Commonwealth's economy as a whole. Like many of us here, the Chamber has a belief that in Massachusetts, we have no greater assets than our residents. Our economic legacy, one of innovation, brain power, and an industrious spirit, will help foster ongoing prosperity in a dynamic economy. I want to offer my sincere thanks for your partnership in sharing that belief and leveraging it to build a better future. I also want to end up by just saying a brief couple of words in terms of what's going on here in Massachusetts. And one of the greatest things that I see happening in our great state, whether it's a national conference of speakers throughout the country, or whether it be in terms of what's going on in Washington, I also like to see what the spirit of cooperation that we have here in Massachusetts. About 2 months or so ago, are you leaving? No. I'm almost done.
No, I'm not. I'm going against something. I'm listening to you.
Oh, all right. Okay. Not that I'm sensitive, but I just wanted to, it was the best part of the speech. But one of the things I spoke about a couple of months ago was the fact about, believe it or not, myself, the Senate President, and the governor were asked to give a forum on how we can get along here in Massachusetts, on how we get along. This forum turned out to be attracted more people than any other agenda item. Over 2,000 people wanted to hear us in terms of how it was that we are able to talk and get things done in Massachusetts. When they first called me, the National Conference of State Legislators, and told me about this idea, my first thing was, you want me to say how we get along? You want me to spend an hour to talk about that? What do you want me to say? And it was fascinating when I heard some of my fellow speakers from around the country who talked to me at the Speakers Conference and the folks who spoke to me there, who talked about how fortunate we were in Massachusetts. And we all know what's going on, in terms of Washington. And I think that right now, that's probably one of our greatest strengths that I see in our great state. And that's why I see such a bright future for Massachusetts. Because I think that the House, the Senate, the administration, that we're all able to work together. Do we disagree many times? Sure. We just overrode 250 of the governor's vetoes. So yeah, we disagree sometimes. But on the other hand, when it comes to getting things done, I think Massachusetts really stands out as a state that instead of letting partisanship or bickering get in our way, we consider, the constituents that we represent and that we get things done for the better for the people of the Commonwealth. I sincerely want to thank you so much. Again, for those who are expecting Kevin Millar, I'll take any baseball questions that you may have. I really apologize for that. But I thank you for having me, and I congratulate you on the great work that you do here at the Burlington Chamber.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The news of Kevin Millar, we couldn't get that much Jack Daniels here to have everyone have shots, so we decided to move on. In all seriousness, this is a team that works together. We understand at the state level, the local level, without partnerships, nothing gets done. This chamber's undergone a lot of hard work in the last few years, and as I'm often told by Dr. Conti, the reward for hard work is more hard work. There's plenty of room at the table to get involved. We want to see the Burlington area continue to benefit from the economic development and redevelopment that's going on here. This is where people want to be when they're outside of Boston. And frankly, I don't know why they want to be in Boston anymore, but hey, you got the ocean, but when it comes to restaurants, everyone knows this is the place to be. And by the way, thank you to the Escadrille and Bob Murray for being great hosts. I think if you look at the revenue that's being generated from meals tax, from income tax, Burlington certainly stacks up there with anybody that's our size. And I thank everyone for joining us tonight and for getting involved in the chamber. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for being involved. Please pass the word to those that aren't in the chamber. And Paul, we'll check you out at the door. Thank you.